The only time I've been physically attacked was once. Again, it was another woman who was manifesting a snake on the floor, crawling like a serpent. I have a guy with me who's supposed to be my bodyguard, and
Are the bodyguards other priests?
no, they can be, but in this case, it wasn't.
Okay.
This was another Spanish person who didn't speak English, so I needed a translator as well. So I had this gentleman from the Spanish community who he's a good guy. And at one point, as I'm doing my prayers and she's slithering across the floor, her head flies back like that, and she's staring at me, and she's sort of got like the snake eyes, which are like, I think, vertical instead of like ours are this way, and there's slits, and they're yellow. And I just kind of looked at her, and I immediately thought, this isn't good. Something is happening. And she flew off the floor without using her hands and her feet, and was immediately in front of me and grabbed my stole. So I have a stole on, which is a piece of fabric that goes around my neck, and she starts choking me. And she's not a big girl. She's like maybe 120 pounds, but she has a grip that I can't break. So I start looking over to him, and I'm like, come on. And he looks at me, he's like, no. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is your one job. And he's like, I'm not coming in. So I just then focused and I said, in the name of Jesus, stop. And she fell back on the floor and went back to her slithering. And I backed up a few feet and continued. But that's the one and only time I've been physically attacked.
How much fear do you feel when you're doing these?
None, because my attitude is, if God is giving me this ministry to help his people, he's going to show up. And why would he allow them to hurt me unless it's for my own education and learning? Like, sometimes you learn by mistake. So like that case, like, I don't know what I did wrong. I think I didn't vet the guy in the room with me enough. Maybe the Lord was trying to tell me, you got to pick these people a little more careful. I don't know. I'm friends with a priest who had 300-pound men in the room with him. And again, it was a woman. And she reached over and with one hand lifted one of the guys between his legs and threw him 10 yards with one hand, 300 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, think about that. So it's not the person's strength. It's clearly supernatural.
When you get called to perform an exorcism, I mean, how does it happen?
That's a great
like
question,
a 911
because
call, right?
when I first started, I kind of had such a pity for these people, such a sorrow for what they're going through, that I would drop everything and that became, come today, we'll help you. Now, having said that, we never do exorcisms at night in the middle of the woods at somebody's home, which is like what the movies would have you think.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the church, usually in the chapel, at my discretion and during the day when there's daylight. We're going to tip the scale in my favor, my territory. But what I was doing was I was getting so caught up in these cases, and they were just coming in faster and faster. And I was just spinning my wheels. So I eventually talked to my mentor, and he goes, oh, no. He's going to wear you out just by sending you fake cases and cases that aren't even real, and people that are just there to just tie your time up and make you a big bag of exhaustion. Get on a process. So the process is somebody makes contact with me saying, I think I have a possessed person, or I am a possessed person. I say, okay, give me your email. I'm going to send you a spiritual intake form. Complete it and send it back to me. Step one. Now, sometimes the person is in such a state they can't do that, and I'm fine. Let your mother do it. Let your brother do it. Let somebody in your family do it. Then I look at it, and I put them on a prayer protocol. If they're Catholic, I want them to come in and go to confession. If they're not Catholic, we will have other things we can do for them. And we get them praying and putting an order into their life, because they're severely disordered. Like, at this point, most of them don't have a job. Relationships have folded. They're sitting in their basement just all day long, like having their head spin with all these crazy thoughts. No, we're going to put order back. Order is from God. The demons don't like order. And so just by putting a routine in their life, a lot of times the demons start to back off. And then if they're doing the prayers as I ask them to, and then if they can go to confession, if they're Catholic, maybe 50% of the time that breaks whatever was with them off them and they're fine. The ones that need more help, then they come into me for an initial meeting on, what we're going to do for them. And I'll try doing deliverance prayers without the rite of exorcism. And if that helps them, and usually it does, then they're kind of set free, but they have to reconnect to God. And this is the point that a lot of people don't want to do. I don't want to go back to church. It's not my thing. Okay, but the person delivering you is Jesus. I'm just standing there in persona. If you're telling me you don't want to connect with him, then I'm not going to do the ministry, because they're going to leave and come back worse when you don't reconnect with God, because you're no longer under his umbrella protection. If you're going to hang out over here and you don't come under his umbrella, I'm not doing the ministry, because they're just going to whack you even harder when they come back. So we're done. Some of them will then say, okay, I'll go back, but they don't. And then I get another phone call in a month. It's worse. I go, I told you it would be worse. You didn't listen. Are you serious now? Yes, I'm serious. I'm going to go back to church. Okay, go back and then call me. And then we'll start. Because it's not magic. It's relationship. He's got the power. Like I said in the beginning, like, we want to be his best friend. He wants to be our best friend. Like, what a great deal. Like, the author of salvation wants to be your best friend, the one who has all the power. This is the strong man, Jesus. Like, why wouldn't you want to be his friend? And when we are his friend, we're protected. He kind of keeps things at bay and away from us until we go out straying and looking for those things ourselves. So that's a hard thing for people to understand. I had a woman who was so physically crippled by these spirits. She was hunched over like an old lady. She said, I'm not ready to go back to church. Like, all right, good luck. Call me when you're ready. Another 6 months she calls. She's practically, can't even move. She's so debilitated. So me and another exorcist went with me to her home. Since I already had met with her, I kind of knew she had a real problem. We brought a witness with us as well, a woman. It's always a woman if it's a woman who needs help. And I do the prayers, and she's completely set free. And she stands up, and she's fully erect as a normal person. She's not hunched over anymore. Her countenance is back. Like, she looks like she's peaceful, happy, smiling. Her eyes are bright. Like, it's a different person. And I'm like, how many years ago we should have been doing this, and you waited. But thank God you finally did it. But it can be all-consuming.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, how do you determine if it's a possession or if it's a mental health issue?
Well, the Code of Canon Law says I have to have moral certitude. It's kind of a vague statement. So if they have supernatural strength, we know that's one. So if I see somebody, throw a 300-pound man with one hand, I'm like, that's not her. If they have a deep-seated aversion to things that are holy, that's another telltale sign. There's 3 of them. That's 2. The third one is if they have knowledge of things they could never know. So the most obvious cases that probably we've all seen, if you've been doing this long enough, is, you can get a 20-year-old person who has a fairly low degree of education, like they barely can read and write. And then suddenly during their deliverance prayers, they start screaming at me in Latin. And I'm just like, hold on. Pretty sure this little kid here doesn't know Latin or Greek or any other ancient language. So those would be big signs. For me personally, so like in my break room, the big water jugs, like I don't know how many gallons they are, 20, 30-gallon jugs. The water that I drink is holy water. So I make that holy water. It has the exorcism salt in it. So on the first time I meet an alleged victim, I bring them into the break room and I say, hey, it's hot outside. I'm going to grab some water. You want some water? They almost always say yes, because people are basically polite, even if they're afflicted, and they go to drink the water. If they immediately have a reaction to that water, I know this is real, because the person had no idea that was holy water. Probably wouldn't even know what holy water is half the time, because they're usually not Catholic. I had a girl take one sip and she passed out and fell down on the floor completely. I said, okay, bingo, we got one.